Here doing my daily, this is my thought about what I've been researching in the Regency and late Georgian period today. And my thought today is about parishes. Now, I've been looking into the history of the Navy. I'm putting a guide together about the Navy, ideally a guide that would be useful to people who are writing and researching, particularly people who are writing about novels set in the Regency and late Georgian period and who want information about the Navy. We don't want to wade through masses and masses of history books. So today I was looking at some adverts in old newspapers from the 1790s for recruiting folks, seamen, into the Navy. And it was interesting that the number of adverts there were quite a lot of them. Firstly, that's a whole separate issue. The Navy were, during the Napoleonic Wars and the Revolutionary Wars of France, the Navy was always short of seamen. They were always trying to recruit more people, get more volunteers. Obviously, volunteers, they paid them. And that's why they had things like press gangs, but that's a whole separate story. We're not talking about press gangs, we're talking about parishes. Because there were lists of adverts, and each advert seemed to be for a particular parish. There was this parish is advertising for someone to join the Navy, and this parish is advertising for someone to join the Navy, and listed one after the other in the newspaper. And I don't know the answer to why there are separate ads for different parishes, but it did get me thinking about the fact that the parish system in Britain is something that we are now in the 21st century really quite a long way away from. It's not a system that we're used to. People today don't know much about parishes, but the whole of, well, certainly England, I don't know about Scotland and Wales, but certainly the whole of England is broken up into parishes relating to the Church of England. And 200 years ago, in the time of Jane Austen and in the Regency, people would have been very aware of which parish they were born into, and they'd have been very aware of which parish they lived in, even if they didn't go to church regularly. And of course, there was the concept of the parish church, there still is. But people were much more aware of the parish because the parish had a lot more responsibility. The parish had a responsibility for the poor. The parish had a responsibility for a number of things. There are parish councils, and there's still parish councils today, but really their power is really quite limited. So there's been a huge change over the last 200 years, and the role of the parish has really diminished. And I think we forget today that parishes were much more significant in the lives of the late Georgians and folks living in the Regency. And that's what's caught my eye today, is this whole thing about parishes. And where they fit into the lives of people. So that's something that I'm going to do a little bit more research into at some point. To what extent was the parish really something significant to people's lives? It clearly was. What responsibilities the parish had, what the parish system meant for people's mobility, for example. I mean, if a parish was responsible for poor people, then what happened to poor people moved around the country? Because people obviously did move around the country in the late Georgian and Regency period. But to what extent did they maintain connection and roots with their parish? So there we are, that's my thought for today. My bit of a random thought, but as I say, it came out of my research into looking into the Navy and how the Navy recruited. It's this whole thing about the parish system and the fact that the parish system was much more visible in people's lives 200 years ago. So thank you for watching. If you're watching this on record, then feel free just to, if you've got a comment, you've got a thumbs up, something like that'd be great. But otherwise, I'm done for now. So I'll be back again tomorrow with another fairly random thought based on my research into late Georgian and Regency history. So thank you for watching and have a good day wherever you are.